All right, so I'm back. I had to do some studying. I also had to do some chores. We have a recycle coming tomorrow, and I thought, well, I should probably fill up our recycle bin, or not a recycle, but yard waste bin, so that we're ready to go. Yeah, so, okay, so I didn't actually figure this one out. Probably should have looked a little bit better. But I did kind of get these other things done. If you want to automate the deployment, so we got the REST API, and then we have Azure Client SDK. I tried PowerShell and CLI, and I don't even know what the heck is Terraform, but I don't remember seeing anything that said Terraform. In fact, I should probably look to see if that's a real thing. Yeah, I didn't think so. I didn't think that was a real thing, and I was like, did I miss something? Okay, so this is NSGs. That's what should you configure if you want to secure and control every network request coming in and out of your VMs. Which virtual machine size should you choose if you want them for model training and deep learning, which is compute optimized. Oh, wait, no, model training, I'm sorry, GPU, sorry. True or false, you cannot change the size of your VM once you have deployed. That is false, but it is, there's work. I mean, like, you kind of want to pick it, but actually changing your model size is actually, or your disk size is easier than changing your network. That's what they said was challenging. If you're planning on running a network appliance on a virtual machine, which workload option should you implement? Network appliance, I believe, was compute optimized. So, yeah. I thought it was general purpose last time, but I was wrong there. So, if you want to automate, oh, right, okay, so I believe that's everything. The only one I didn't do is this one yet. I need to kind of I should go back and look at unmanaged virtual machine storage. Let's see if there is an option for availability of your pricing model storage.
There are two separate costs the subscription will be charged for every VM. They are compute costs and storage costs. By separating these costs, you scale them independently and only pay for what you need. Compute expenses are priced on a per hour basis, but billed on a per minute basis. For example, you are only charged for 55 minutes of usage if the VM is deployed for 55 minutes. You are not charged for compute capacity.
Let's see, when you create disks, you will have two options for managing the relationship between the storage account and each virtual hard disk. You can choose either unmanaged disks or managed disks. With unmanaged disks, you are responsible for the storage accounts. Yeah, that correspond to the disk. You pay the storage account. Managed disks are the newer and recommended disk storage model. They elegantly solve the complexity by putting the burden. I thought I said managed.
You are charged separately for the storage the VM uses. The status of the
I swore I
VM
said managed
no
last time.
relation to the storage charges
What did I
that
say
will be
last?
earned. Even if the VM is stocked or deallocated,
Yeah, what did I say?
and weren't billed for the running VM, you will be charged for the
Oh,
storage
unless I
charges.
went
You're able to
backwards.
choose from two
In other
payment
words,
options.
managed is what you do,
With
and
the pay-as-you-go option, you pay for compute capacity by the second, with no long-term commitment or upfront payment.
managed is a newer. So managed is they manage it. Oh, maybe that's it. I probably entered it backwards. So unmanaged means you do it all. Maybe that's what I thought. I thought maybe if you unmanaged, I probably had them backwards. Okay.
Developing an app in a VM. This would be the appropriate option.
Let's put that down here in my notes. Managed disks are managed fully by Microsoft. Unmanaged, unmanaged are managed by you.
Use this option if the VM has to run continuously or you need budget predictability.
All right, I think I'm ready. Well, that should be it.
Now let's look at storage for the VM. The The best practice is that all Azure virtual machines will have at least 2 virtual hard disks. Or
Well, it's
VHDs.
better. I still got something wrong.
The first disk stores the operating system, and the second is used as temporary.
Well, out of 5 questions, the first
You
one
can
is the
add
only one I got
additional
wrong.
disks to store application data. The maximum number is determined by the VM size selection, typically 2 per CPU. It's
Oh,
common
it's-
to create 1 or more data disks, particularly since the OS disk tends to be quite small. Also, separating out the
There's
data
2.
from
Oh, you know what?
different
It's
VMs
2 this. I knew I got this right
reliability,
first time because it is supposed to be 2. You have a 2 minimum
The
because
data for
one
each VHD
one disk
stored
is
in
actually
Azure
provided
is page-wise.
is actually
Allows all
fully
its data
owned
to
by,
access
or not owned, but used by Microsoft during on your VMs. It's used by them for whatever management maintenance that they need to do to the item. So it's 2 minimum. I should have gotten that right. I don't know why I messed that up. I was probably too busy going fast and I didn't really bother to think about it. I was trying to go by what apparently I memorized on the test, which is not the best way. You don't want to memorize questions. You want to memorize answers. You don't want to memorize answers. You want to memorize questions. You memorize the questions, then associate an answer that you have in your head as the correct answer for that item. Because if you just memorize answers, the question could change slightly, and then you're like, oh, that's your answer's right, but the question has changed. So got to be a little bit more careful about that. My blender. Okay, so let's go here. It's interesting. What she said was 2 minimum, typically 2 maximum per CPU. Apparently there is I mean, if you say typically, the thought is that there is actually another option there, right? So you got typically is not a guarantee of what that is. So maybe it isn't 2 maximum, but I guess under some scenarios you can actually have more. I guess, or would you even have 1? I guess you could potentially have 1 per CPU. You'd have 2. What is it? 2 minimum, but it says 2 maximum. But I guess you could have 1. But she said typically. Well, typically 2 per CPU. I guess if you were going to increase, you'd go up to having another 2, but it doesn't have to go that way. So, anyway, that's it. That question's done. Let's go to the next item.
In this module, you looked at the decisions you need to make before creating a virtual machine. These decisions include aspects such as the VM size, types of disks used, operating system image selected, and the types of resources created. You also looked at the options to create and manage virtual machines in Microsoft Azure. You saw how easy it is to create and manage VMs using the portal and when to use resource manager templates, PowerShell, the Azure CLI, and the Azure Client SDK. Find resource group to delete the entire set of resources.
Oh yeah, then your word on cleanup. Okay, so
Hello and welcome.
I don't know.
In
I
this
think there's
lesson,
5
you will learn how to
or
create
4
Linux
modules,
virtual machines
but you can see I have a 1 minute, 3 minute, and
It is
8 minute
required that
video
global auto
plus an
race
exercise.
systems modernize their entire
So
monitoring and web platform.
you can plug away with these
They have
ones with
decided
me,
to replace existing Linux
or we
with
could just get
various
to the
cloud-based
exercise
infrastructure that uses the
shortly.
latest in architectural trends.
You can just
Part
fast
of
forward
the
to that.
system will run on the Azure serverless platform using Azure functions to process real-time race data, pushing statistics, race data, and other relevant bits of analyzed information into clusters of databases. They want to keep their existing website, which was rewritten last year, but have it connected into this modern data stream. The website is running on Apache with Linux, and because it's already up and running, you decide to move it directly into Azure by using an Azure virtual machine. This will give the website access to the data with a minimal amount of work on your part. In this lesson, you will understand the options that are available for virtual machines in Azure, create a Linux virtual machine using the Azure portal, connect to a running Linux virtual machine using SSH, and install software and change the network configuration of a VM using the Azure portal.
All right, so the next one.
We have an existing website.
So this is just
running
you're
on
creating a
Azure
Linux virtual machine. Last time it was a Windows
Azure virtual machine using
virtual
the
machine.
latest Ubuntu image and then migrate the site to the cloud. Now, you will learn about the options you will need to evaluate when creating a virtual machine in Azure. Azure Virtual Machines is an on-demand, scalable cloud computing resource. They include processors, memory, storage, and networking resources. You can start and stop virtual machines at will and manage them from the Azure portal or with the Azure CLI. You can also use a remote secure shell, SSH, to connect directly to the running VM and execute commands as if you were on a local computer. Creating Linux-based VMs in Azure is easy. Microsoft has partnered with prominent Linux vendors to ensure their distributions are optimized for the Azure platform. You can create virtual machines from pre-built images for a variety of popular Linux distributions, such as SUSE, Red Hat, and Ubuntu, or build your own Linux distribution to run in the cloud.
You can create Linux machines from a pre-built image for a variety of popular Linux distributions. Okay. Create Linux Microsoft has partnered primarily. That's basically what you just said.
Virtual machines can
I think
be
sometimes
defined
a lot of these have one question in the middle of them. It's really to keep you from. I think it's just to keep you from
Azure CLI or Azure
fast
PowerShell.
forwarding. I don't even think that works because you can skip over it. So
In all cases, you will need
I think
to
they're just
supply
checking to
several
see that
pieces
you're
of
paying
information
attention.
that will
I don't know.
fall short. The Azure Marketplace also provides pre-configured images that include both an OS and favorite software tools installed for specific scenarios. When creating a Linux VM in Azure, you also create resources to host the VM. These
Ooh, it's-
resources work together
my,
to virtualize
thermostat
the
says it's
VM
94
running
degrees
Linux
outside.
operating system. These must exist and be selected during VM creation, or they will be created with the VM. These resources include a virtual machine that provides CPU and memory resources, an Azure storage account to hold the virtual hard disks, virtual disks to hold the OS, applications, and data, a virtual network or VNet to connect the VM to other Azure services or your on-premises hardware, a network interface to communicate with the VNet, and an optional public IP address so you can access the VM. Like other Azure services, you'll need a resource group to contain the VM, and optionally group these resources for administration. When you create a new VM, you can either use an existing resource group or create a new one. Selecting an image is one of the first and most important decisions you'll make when creating a VM. An image is a template that's used to create a VM.
I wonder what the cost
These
is. Like, say you
templates
get
include an operating system and often
2
other
hits a
software
day
tools
on
such as
your
development tools or
on your
reference
website.
environments.
So you set it up to say the first time someone actually accesses it
You can
to
create a VM
to
with an
ramp up.
image that's
Now I'm not talking about
pre-configured
virtual
for the
machine,
size
but
of
like
the
if you're using
task,
functions or
such as
something,
hosting a
that
web
trigger.
app on the Apache
Um,
server. And here's a
to
use
minimize
case.
costs.
You can
I wonder
also
what it
create
costs,
and
like if you
upload
get 10
custom
hits a month or
facilities.
something. I mean, they'd be pretty slow, right? Because you'd only get hit a couple times, but they'd be slow. I wonder how I wonder just how slow they are. If you do a website
Just
that's
as a
called
physical
when
machine
people hit
has
it.
a certain amount of memory and CPU power, so does a virtual machine. Azure offers a range of VMs of different sizes and different price
Now it's not high
points.
performance,
The
and if you've
size
got
that
tons
you
of
choose
people
will
coming to
determine
it,
the
you know,
VM's
they're going to go,
processing
your site is
power,
really slow,
memory,
you
and
know.
maximum storage capacity.
But once it's
Here's
up,
a warning.
you know,
There are quota limits on each subscription that can impact VM creation. If you run into these quota limits, you can open an online customer support request to increase your limits. VM sizes workload you want to perform. It is possible to change the size of a VM after scheduling, but the VM must be stopped first. So it's best to
Generally not long at all, but what I mean typically under 1 minute, but the time will vary depending how long does it take for an Azure App Service
For
instance
general use computing and web, such as testing and
to be available after scale
small
out.
to medium
That's not the
databases or
question.
low to medium traffic web servers, consider choosing sizes B, DSV3,
Azure functions, scaling, and hosting.
DSV2,
Draws a function app
or
timeout setting to
If
30
your
seconds is
scenario
the max.
involves heavy computational tasks like medium traffic web servers, network appliances, batch processes, and application servers, you should consider selecting
Deploy Azure.
FSV2, FS,
Deploy Azure App Service task
for
is slow.
large
Performance
memory
monitor, high
usage, such as
performance.
relational database servers, medium to large caches, and in-memory analytics. Consider choosing sizes ESV3, EV3, M, GS, G, DSV2,
Troubleshoot.
or DB2. If your scenario focuses on data storage and processing, like big data, SQL, and
Search
NoSQL
existing
databases,
Azure App Service
with high
feedback.
disk throughput and I/O, then consider size LS. Now, for heavy graphics rendering or video editing, as well as model training and inferencing, or MD with deep learning, consider selecting sizes NV, NC, MCV2, MCV3, or ND. Finally, if your scenario is based on high-performance computing or HPC, your workloads need the fastest and most powerful CPU virtual machines with optional high-throughput network interfaces. You should consider choosing size H.
I know this is a total redirect, but I'm curious if I were to create a website on Azure for my business site, which say on the average it gets 1 or 2 hits a day. I mean, really, it doesn't. I mean, I don't get a lot right now. I mean, I've had it be much higher, of course, but since I'm running out of product and I don't market as much as I should, it's kind of hard. You know, it doesn't get a lot of hits. That said, I'm curious what it takes for, you know, what is the delay? Let's see. How slow is an Azure website that loads on with serverless? What did it say? Serverless. That's cold start, but that's not the term I was looking for. Almost 10 seconds. That's pretty long. This seems to be a topic, but my Python project with a few hundred megabytes of dependencies has a cold start of almost 10 seconds. My website is very slow to start. I have a simple Blazor server app connected to free Azure SQL. It works fine, but if nobody uses it for a while, it is very slow. That's what I wanted to know. How slow is it? What is very slow? I don't believe there's a problem with my code because I create a simple HTML page with absolutely no code, and that is also very slow to start. It takes 20 seconds to load and returns no content. I need to refresh it several times before my simple text content is returned. I believe that Microsoft is shutting down my app despite the always on setting. This is disappointing me because I want to use Azure, but this is unacceptable. This is a test site. I don't need to pay the considerable cost for production subscription, but my clients need to view the test site without these issues. The issue you experience is known as cold start. This happens. So 20 seconds is a long time. That's a long time. But even the always on setting enables your app can still experience cold starts. Here are a few suggestions for the startup of your time. Optimize your app. Try to keep the size of your resources small. Only add the absolute required dependencies. This can help reduce the time it takes to load. Split your app. If your app is large, consider splitting it. Upgrade your plan. Duh. Use Azure Function Premium Plan. Duh. Pay more money, basically. Remember, even with these optimization, cold starts can still occur, especially if your app hasn't been used for a while. It's a common challenge in serverless architectures. But the thing is, he doesn't use it that often. And can you even do this? It says, engage us in a one-on-one support request. If you're doing free Azure, do they actually respond to those? I don't know. Okay, so once again, I've digressed, not regressed. Regression is probably pretty bad, but digression is just me getting distracted by all of the cool stuff in the world. Okay, so here we go. Let's go back to it. Yeah. Is there another question on this? Or did I just... Oh, you know what? That was a review thing. I think the one I want is this. Here we go. So we did that. Oh, let's refresh this because that's not right either. Where did my thing go here? Dang it. I've lost my page. Oops. We're here. And now we're on here. How did I hit pause? I don't even remember hitting pause.
NCV2, NCV3, or ND. Finally, if your scenario is based on high-performance computing or HPC, your workloads need the fastest and most powerful CPU virtual machines with optional high-throughput network interfaces. You should consider choosing size and H.
Okay. In case you need to change the size of your VM, that can be done easily with no impact to the workloads that are hosted on the VM. It's mostly true, but I think you have... Yeah, I think that's mostly true. Can be done. Oh. You should select the size of the VM based on the workload you want to perform. It is possible to change the size of a VM after it's been created, but the VM must be stopped first. So it's best to size it appropriately. Oh, okay. So you do have to stop and start. What was it I was reading before? It was something earlier that said you could do it dynamically, but I guess I was wrong. I guess that is a wrong answer. So changing the size of a VM. So I have that on here. I mean that it could be done, but obviously I have some incorrect information, or not incorrect, but I misremembered it.
The next set of decisions revolves around storage. First, you can choose the disk technology. Options include a traditional platter-based hard disk drive, or HDD, or a more modern solid-state drive, or SSD. Just like the hardware you purchase, SSD storage costs more but provides better performance. Now, here's a useful tip. There are two levels of SSD storage available, standard and premium. Choose standard SSD disks if you have...
It's funny, they don't even mention that stuff on here.
Performance. Choose premium SSD disks if you have I/O-intensive workloads or mission-critical systems that need to process data very quickly. Azure uses virtual hard disks, VHDs, to represent physical disks for the VM. VHDs replicate the logical format and data of a disk drive, but are stored as page blobs in an Azure storage account. You can choose on a per-disk basis what type of storage you should use, SSD or HDD. This allows you to control the performance of each...
I should probably Take this in as a note. I don't remember this. It's like this is like extra information, but I don't remember some of these when I did the other Azure page, because it's like there's a lot of stuff here, but they are actually different when you do Linux. I don't know. Replicate the logical format and data, stored as page blobs, choose SSD, control the performance of each disk.
Each disk, likely based on the I/O you plan to perform on it. By default, 2 virtual hard disks, VHDs, will be created for your Linux VM. The operating system disk. This is your primary drive, and it has a maximum capacity of 2048 gigabytes. It will be labeled as /dev/SDA by default. A temporary disk. This provides temporary storage for the OS or any apps. On Linux virtual machines, the disk is /dev/SDB and is formatted and mounted to /MNT by the Azure Linux agent. It is sized based on the VM size and is used to store the swap file. But there's an important warning. The temporary disk is not persistent, by the Azure Linux agent. It is sized based on the...
Oh, okay. This is, it's weird how this is not persistent. But is it faster? Is it because it's an SSD? Or what? I mean, what are they doing? Gigabytes max. Disk 2 is a temp disk, and data on it is not persistent.
The VM size and is used to store the swap file. But there's an important warning. The temporary disk is not persistent. You should only write data to this disk that is not critical to the system. You can store data on the primary drive along with the OS, but a better approach is to create dedicated data disks. You can create and attach additional disks to the VM. Each disk can hold up to 32,767 gigabytes of data, with the maximum amount of storage determined by the
Is it
VM
gigabytes?
size select. Now, let's look at an important note. Azure virtual disk sizes are measured in gigabytes.
Yeah, it is
which are not
gigabytes.
the same as 7 gigabytes of data. You can
Huh. I never even heard of gigabytes. I've seen this before, GIB, but I never knew. I didn't know it was a thing. I thought maybe somebody was just like messing with me. That's like, what the heck is a gigabyte? I'm a developer. Yeah, even developers don't see everything out there. Everything. Some things are just gigabytes. You should know what a gigabyte is. Come on, man. Additional disks are available and recommended instead of using data disk 1 instead of using disk 1 for persistent data. $32,767 gig capacity per disk.
maximum amount of storage determined by the VM size you set.
Maximize
Right. Now, let's look at an important note. Azure virtual disk sizes are measured in gigabytes, which are not the same as gigabytes. 1 gigabyte is approximately 1.074 gigabytes.
Well, that's pretty dang close. What the heck?
Equivalent of your virtual disk size in
No.
gigabytes. Multiply the size in gigabytes by 1.074. That will return a size in gigabytes that that is relatively close. For example, 32,767
One.
megabytes would be approximately 35,183 gigabytes.
1 point.
An interesting capability is to create a VHD image from a real disk. This allows you to
Wait a
easily
minute.
migrate existing information from an on-premises computer. Interesting capability is to create a VHD image from bytes would be approximately 35,183 gigabytes.
So a GB
An
byte is
interesting capability is to create a VHD image from a real disk.
smaller?
This
No.
allows
Yeah,
you
it's
to
smaller.
easily migrate existing
Right?
information from an on-premises computer to the cloud. The final storage choice you'll make is whether to use unmanaged or managed disks. With unmanaged disks, you are responsible for the storage
Or it's
accounts
bigger.
that are
Slightly,
used for
slightly
VHD
bigger than a
correspond
gigabyte.
to your
But it's like so little, it might as well be gigabytes.
the amount of space you use.
Why do they measure in some weird thing like that?
Fixed rate limit of 20,000 I/O operations per second. This means that a single storage account is
No, I'm going to copy this. I don't need the image. I'm going to put it down here because I have this unmanaged note. And we will put this right here because that's a good place to store it, to keep them together for reference. Ooh. My images are starting to overlap. Okay. I'll go on to the next.
capable of supporting 40 standard virtual hard disks at full throttle. If you need to scale out, then you need more than one storage account, which can get complicated. Managed disks are the newer and recommended disk storage model.
See, they kind of went over this before, but not in this detail. And I think I remember them mentioning it, but
Onto Azure. You specify the disk type, premium or standard, and the size of the disk, and Microsoft Azure creates and manages both the disk and the storage it uses.
so with a managed, you determine premium/standard and the size. Microsoft handles creation and management. I gotta go look this up. I'm curious. What is the value of a gigabyte? YGIB versus GB. And what is the logic of having something that's that minutely different? Because that's really what the heck is going on here? There's something going on here. To recap, the debate between both prefixes are units of measurement on digital devices. GB is traditional metric style of measurement with GB equaling 1,000 bytes. Gib is the binary method, which is the way computers measure data at 1,024 bytes. Oh, is that what this said? 1,024? But I always thought everything was 1,024. I mean, really, I thought everything was 1,024. You know, it's 1,024 kilobytes, 1,024 megabytes, 1,024 terabytes. I thought a gigabyte was 1,024. I guess I just always assumed it was. I never knew that they were actually doing weird. As we see in the table, 1 terabyte is equal to 931 gib. That's why Microsoft Windows OS reports a 1 terabyte drive as 931 gib. What is the difference? Gib versus gigabyte. 1 gigabyte is 1 billion bytes. Okay, so it must just be a gigabyte is rounded. I never really knew that there was. Yeah, I just guess I never knew that they're the same thing. A gigabyte, huh? That's kind of silly. Why is that? Why is it even different? Why isn't it not 1,024 as per the general rule of bytes? I mean, like you go here, see you've got 1,024, 1,024, 1,024. Oh, they're tebibytes, kibibytes. So these are all the ones that are 1024? No, they're all 1024 of the one before it. So a gigabyte is a 1024 megabyte. So we got a gigabyte is I never knew they were exactly 1,000. I've always thought it was 1024. Wow, like my brain is broken right now. I thought all kilobytes were 1024, megabytes were 1024. Really, they're 1,000 even? Terabyte is 1,000 even? Oh, I'm so broken. I seriously never thought. Huh. Huh. My brain is broke. I really thought a kilobyte was 1024. Well, see, here it's 1024 units of computer memory measurements. See, 1024 is a kilobyte, megabyte, gigabyte. See, these are 1024. But here, this is, oh, that says bytes are 1024. Bit, kilobyte, 1024, 1024, 1024. But here, well, one of these I was just looking at. One of them was just saying that they're 1,000. Okay, so, well, now I'm totally lost because I can't find the one that was doing them at 1,000. See, here there are 1,000. Well, that doesn't make things confusing, right? Or you go look online, you can find charts that'll say a kilobyte is 1,024 or a megabyte is 1,024 kilobytes, but here it's saying a kilobyte is 1,000, but a gigabyte is 1,024 bytes. Erg. I don't even know what to say to that.
You don't have to worry about storage account limits.
I'm gonna be broken. I won't know what to say to people.
They also offer several other benefits.
If they ask me sizes now.
Azure ensures that VHDs associated with high reliability VMs will be placed in different parts of Azure storage to provide similar levels of resilience. Better security. Managed disks are real managed resources in the resource group. This means that they can use role-based access control to restrict who can work with the VHD data. Snapshot support. Snapshots can be used to create a read-only copy of a VHD. We recommend that you shut down the VM to clear out any processes that are in progress. Creating the snapshot only takes a few seconds. Once it's done, power on the VM and use the snapshots to create a duplicate VM to troubleshoot a production issue or roll back the VM to the point in time that the snapshot was taken. And finally, backup support. Managed disks can be automatically backed up to different regions for disaster recovery with Azure Backup without affecting the service of the VM. Virtual machines communicate with external.
This is a longer module than the last one.
Network, VNet. The VNet represents a private network in a single region that your resources communicate on. The virtual network is just like the networks you manage on premises. You can divide them up with subnets to isolate resources, connect them to other networks, including your on-premises networks, and apply traffic rules to govern inbound and outbound connections. When you create a new VM, you will have the option of creating a new virtual network or using an existing VNet in your region. Having Azure create the network together with a VM is simple, but it's likely not ideal for most scenarios. It's better to plan your network requirements upfront for all the components of your architecture. Then create the VNet structure separately, and create the VMs and place them into the already created VNets. We'll look more at virtual networks later. Before we create a virtual machine, we need to decide how we'd like to administer the VMs. Let's look at our options.
It's not a video though. So we can go do this. This is the exercise right here. Modules in this learning path. Hey, This comprehensive learning path reviews deployment and management. Learn about cloud computing concepts, Linux, IaaS, prerequisites, ability to configure and administrate a Linux server, access to a Microsoft Azure account, ability to navigate to the Azure portals. So am I supposed to do this one? Redeem your code? Am I supposed to do all of these? Which one am I doing? Plan your Linux environment in Azure. Or wait, what am I supposed to do? Decide an authentication method for SSH. You are almost ready to create a virtual network. The default approach to administering Linux VMs hosted in Azure SSH. The exercise requires that Microsoft Learn Sandbox to complete. You can access this exercise from the link below. Okay. So we were here. Build and run an application with MeanStack. Provision a Linux virtual machine in Azure. Am I supposed to do, just go to here? Is that what I'm supposed to do? Introduction. What is Linux on Azure? What is Linux on Azure? I don't know. They kind of just took me. Identify Azure IaaS. I think they took me to a weird spot, or that link is weird now because they didn't actually take me to what it is I'm supposed to do here. How far down this learning path am I supposed to go? Open link in new window. I'm gonna open this in a new window. But so you can see it just takes me to this page, and this page just takes me to the Microsoft Learn Azure thing, but it doesn't actually show me what I'm supposed to do. What exercise am I doing? Am I doing this thing? Am I doing introduction to Linux on Azure? Plan your Linux environment? Learn about standards. I just kind of keep going. Line pricing, support, describe next steps with Azure IaaS. Decide an authentication method for SSH. Azure storage, open source software databases, Azure files. Choose the approach to Azure file tier. When to use Azure IaaS resources for Linux deployment. Knowledge check. Which of the following statements is true of? Let's see if I learned this to the course of doing this. Azure handles all aspects of system management after you set up. The ability to grow or shrink capacity is an inherent Azure capability provided by scale sets. Hosting a website on Azure requires upgrading to PaaS solution. When deploying Linux on Azure, you must start with IaaS before migrating to PaaS. These aren't multiples, right? Alright, I want to go read this because I don't know. After choosing a Linux distribution virtual machine configurator, you take the following basic steps. Instantiate the Linux images on your virtual machines. Connect your virtual machine with another. Configure basic storage such as operating systems. Blah. As you build out your Linux environment, consider adding security backup and other capabilities. IaaS enables you to create a private virtual network. You can provision and manage VMs on an individual basis or as virtual machine scale sets. Group of identical VMs managed with scale sets. You can distribute workloads, high availability, redundancy, load balancing, and manual and automatically elastic scale. Common use case area. Define a template to create. Hosting a website on Azure requires upgrading a pass. Which of the following options is a feature of the Azure pricing model? All Linux subscriptions are exclusively pay-as-you-go. Certain subscriptions can take advantage of Azure hybrid benefit. Only Windows can take advantage of reserve instance fixed pricing. You know, I don't know the answer to this at all. I could probably. When to use Azure IaaS resources for Linux? Some organizations want to take a hands-free approach. For those organizations, IaaS is the appropriate approach when infrastructure as a structure, resources as a service. I mean, you manage. Here are some of the advantages. Eliminate the burden of provision, replicate on-premise, develop hybrid solutions, spanning on-premise and cloud, increase security, elasticity, reliability, Azure infrastructure to decrease costs. Choose the appropriate Azure file tier. Oh, we know it ain't that one then. Only Windows. Reserve instance fixed pricing. Azure Enterprise file storage. Storage options include these workloads. Azure Managed Disks are one of the Azure storage platform. Azure Managed, oh, I knew that. Virtual networks and network appliances. Microsoft gives you the running. Microsoft recommends endorsed distributions. To receive Azure support. It pays to understand different pricing tiers. The option can be a perfect environment when computing resources fluctuate. Customers, especially those with Azure Reserve, fixed price. You can also combine two options. I hate reading a bunch of text like this. It doesn't. That's why you can see I'm skimming a lot, which is problematic for me. I'm not good. I have trouble focusing on just lots of words. It's not that I can't read. It's just I just don't take in information. I'm not good at memorizing random boatloads of words. Machine security, storage, register for the free basic support that's available to free evaluated customers complete. You can want to cloud management, specialized workloads. Alright, well, let's see if I've gotten any idea here. How much is exclusively pay as you go? Oh, see, it didn't even let me stay there and I hate knowledge checks that don't let you see your work. Did it keep my answers? No, but I probably don't want to say. Which of the following statements is true? Elasticity, the ability to grow and shrink capacity is an inherent. Oh, that sounds good. Which of the following options is a feature of Azure pricing model? Let's go certain. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna keep these. I mean, I saw on there that I got them wrong, so that's why I wanted to take it again. We will throw those into my many millions of questions for Linux VMs. Okay, well, my computer is just being weird today. Look at this spinny thing of all I did was copy and paste something and it's wigging out. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna have to reboot my computer. Okay. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do because this just says decide an authentication method. It did not take me to this page. So, link did not take me to related task, just to the beginning of a Linux learning learning path. So I had no idea what I was to be doing when I got there. And I still don't. Azure App Service, Azure Functions, Red Hat OpenShift talks about the different things. When to use PaaS resources. Which of the following Azure service is PaaS platform as a service? Virtual machines, Azure Portal, Azure App Service, Azure Resource Manager. Platform as a service. I think that's it. Yay. Managed web application hosting platform that can host applications on Linux. I'm going to keep that too. It's going to be a lot of questions I got to review, memorize, know the answer to. Now, some would say memorizing answers is not a good way to go. Questions and answers. For the sake of a test, I think it is. But at the same time, if they give you descriptions of why it is, that helps, because it's almost like notes. It's notes for the next time you do it. Database as a service options. Data, what is that? DAS? I never heard of DAS. Database as a service options. Azure offers fully managed databases as a service. DBAS. Wow. Okay, that's new. Which automate tasks like configuration and manage high availability, disaster recovery. A partial list of the fully managed databases available on Azure includes SQL, database, Postgres. So the usual suspects. I'm still looking for SSH. Exercise, decide on authentication method for SSH. Open source, Prometheus, Terraform, Red Hat, Azure CLI, Azure Portal, Azure Resource Manager. Security tools and capabilities, business continuity, Azure Migrate, other services, knowledge base. Which of the following statements best describes the Azure CLI? Azure CLI is the only tool that can be used to create base scripts and batch files can run in a wide variety of shells, including Bash, Command.exe, and Windows PowerShell. Azure CLI is designed primarily for people with Windows experience. I don't know about that. Let's go with this. There you go. I don't know about what I think about the quality of that question, but okay. So I'm basically going through and learning additional learning stuff because I'm trying to find this decide an authentication method for SSH. Because it doesn't actually go anywhere. I don't know what to do with it. Like, what are we doing here, man? What is the goal of this task? I just go learn from somebody else for a while, dang gummit. Stop bothering us. Yay, I've achieved this achievement. What the heck? Plan your Linux environment in Azure. Okay. Plan for sizing, manage Azure, optimize performance of a knowledge check. Introduction. Plan for sizing and network. Virtual disk, virtual network and network interface, resource host, optionally public IP addresses, plan for sizing, processing power, blah, blah, blah. General purpose, compute intensive, other size considerations, plan for networking, network bandwidth, plan for remote connectivity, Azure Bastion, JIT, just-in-time VM access, manage Azure Linux VMs, platform supporting manage. See, a lot of these we kind of did, and that's kind of why I'm skipping through. I'm trying to see if I can pick up something that's not there. Boot diagnostics and serial console. Enable boot diagnostics. Use the Azure VM serial console. Wow. Wow, I didn't even know that was a thing. Here we go. SSH configuration issues. The serial console can help you restore a VM to operational state situations like the following. SSH configuration issues. This doesn't mention SSH on it though. I don't even know what SSH is. Did they mention that before? Kernel-based accelerated networking, optimized storage performance. Every Azure Linux VM has at least the following 2 virtual disks. So yeah, I already saw that virtual data disks. This is extra stuff you can get. Write barriers for premium SSD. Scheduling algorithm for premium multi-disk configurations. Which SSH can it? What is SSH? I never even saw the word SSH. What does that stand for? connectivity method to Azure Linux VMs runs directly from Azure portal over the HTTPS protocol. I don't know, because I don't remember seeing the word SSH anywhere. Nope. It's not even mentioned there. Not mentioned there. It's not mentioned there either. SSH is not even a thing in this entire, the word, the terminology SSH that they keep saying and mentioning doesn't actually exist anywhere. Yeah, there's no SSH on this entire thing, but yeah, you go through here and it asks you for knowledge check. The first thing it says, what is your SSH? I'm like, don't know what SSH is. For Azure is the default approach to administrating Linux VMs hosted in Azure is SSH. Okay. What is SSH? Oh, here you go. SSH. How come I did a search and it didn't show up? Secure shell. For Linux VMs, remote connectivity typically involves using secure shell, which is SSH. Wow, okay. Let's go by my notes. Notes. SSH. Secure shell. Which is weird, because that's, why isn't it just, I guess because they don't want to have just SS. You can use a username and password or an SSH key pair. Using passwords for SSH connections leaves the VM vulnerable to brute force attacks. Using SSH keys is a more secure and preferred method. All right, well, let's do that. I mean, let's save that piece of note, because that's kind of authentication method, right? So that's related to what I want to do. Still doesn't actually answer totally what I'm supposed to be doing here, because this didn't take me to the exact problem. But even with SSH keys, by default, you must open connectivity to public IP. With the target Azure VM's network adapter, the public IP is vulnerable to external threats, represents attack vector. To mitigate this risk, consider implementing Azure Bastion or just-in-time VM access. Okay, so those are both good. Both pieces of notes. You deploy the Azure Bastion service into a dedicated subnet, a virtual network that has connectivity to the target VM. Azure Bastion serves as a broker for external SSH connections over HTTPS that are available only from the Azure portal. Azure Bastion eliminates the need to assigning public IP addresses to the target VM network interface, and also ensures that only authenticated and properly authorized users can initiate SSH. To eliminate the need of public IP addresses when obtaining from on-premises environment to Azure VMs, you can use site-to-site virtual private network or Azure Express route. Let's do this. I want to keep this piece of information. There. Oops. I need to keep extra notes here. Let's see. VM Access is Microsoft Defender for Cloud feature that limits access to public IP associated with an Azure VM's network interface. These limits dynamically adjust the the network security group to allow incoming connections only from a designated IP address. All right. So let's do this one. JIT. Azure must authenticate before. I'll do this because it's just another thing I need to have. Put it here. I don't know why it keeps insisting. So weird. And then we probably should have Azure Bastion on here too. Azure Bastion eliminates the need for assigning public IP addresses to the target's VM network interface and also ensures that only authenticated properly uses. Okay. Oh no, let's do text. Text is, well, more searchable for one thing. Won't keep the whole thing, but enough that. So this is me trying to decide, trying to resolve the problem that that is actually supposed to be the task I'm doing. You know, I'm not even sure exactly, I mean, what it is I'm supposed to be doing here. Mostly because also I did go over that, and we did go here. Go here. All right, which SSH connector method runs directly from the Azure portal over the HTTPS protocol? Probably the serial console, because Azure Bastion and JIT seem to be services. Well, let's go see what my thing said. Did I actually keep those? Hybrid scenario to eliminate the need for IP addresses. Using password key pair. Using SSH is more secure and preferred method. And so these are extra. I would think it must just be straight from the serial console. Okay, which Azure resource must be provisioned before you can deploy an Azure Linux VM? Storage account. Which Azure resource must be provisioned before you can deploy an Azure Linux VM? Which property of an Azure Linux VM affects its maximum available bandwidth? Which feature of Azure VM must be implemented to provide access via the Azure VM serial console? Root diagnostics? Okay, I'm getting these wrong. Which disk should you use to store a swap file? That's a temporary disk. Give you answers. What did I get wrong? Did I miss all of them? That's correct. Oh no, that's correct. I got that totally wrong. So Azure Bastion, you know, it's funny, that must be the piece of text I did not read. I took the piece that what it does and not how it's accessed. Which Azure resource must be provisioned before you can deploy it? You don't need a storage account. The ability to deploy an Azure VM doesn't rely on having an existing storage account. Virtual network must exist. Which property of an Azure? Man, I missed every single one. That was like an offer. Oh no, I got these two correct, I guess. So I got 2 out of 5. Ugh. The number of network interfaces doesn't affect the maximum available bandwidth on Azure. The Azure VM size is the sole factor. Really? Bandwidth is driven without network resources? Weird. I did not. Weird. Why would your bandwidth be driven by size? Because it's going to be what moves over the. Huh. That's weird. Okay. All right. The disk should. Well, I knew this one already. Boot diagnostics is correct. That was the one I guessed. So access via the Azure VM serial console. But in order to do the serial console, or you need Azure Bastion to do this, Azure portal over the HTTPS protocol. Huh. All right, I'll take the test again. Can I do that one again? Or is taking it twice not allowed? Okay, it's not allowed. All right, so I guess I'll just I'll just keep the questions. There you go. More questions. These ones have some wrong answers, but at least they explain what the right answers are, so I can reference them later. Put them in my answers. Well, I did really bad on that. Now, granted, again, I wasn't taking the traditional class. Those questions aren't normally part of my class. But I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing for the class because this thing didn't. It took me to a page that just said, here's everything. And I'm like, well, what part of everything do I need to be studying? Because they didn't tell me. So yeah, I blame Coursera. Now again, this is the problem with links to other people's stuff. They said they gave me a link to Microsoft Learn. Microsoft Learn. I'm just gonna say it's done. Create a Linux virtual machine with the Azure portal. So now this is the item I'm supposed to be doing. So we're gonna go ahead and open link in a new window. And then I'm going to make sure I'm not missing something here. Okay. See, look, it did it to me again. It just took me here. Their links are broken, man. Create a Linux virtual machine with the Azure portal. Let's see if there's actually a valid link for this. Create Linux VM in Azure. So I don't think this is the one that this is still on Learn, Microsoft Learn, but this is not where that link goes, right? But this will do the same thing, right? So it'll come in here, under administrative account, select SSH public key. So connect to virtual machine, install web server, view the web server in action. All right, well, I'm going to copy that, and then I'm going to go back here and see if there was another option. That's create Linux virtual machine, Microsoft Azure, create Linux virtual machine, PowerShell, create Linux virtual machine using Azure Stack Hub. Is this one the Azure portal? Yeah. Virtual machine, Azure portal. Okay, so whatever their link is, this link is invalid. Again. This link does not go to the task shown. You need to update it. Okay, so I believe this task here should, where'd it go? Well, take me to what I want. Okay, so we're going to go here. We're going to try to follow along with this path, slightly different, but it's still on Microsoft Learn, so we'll see how this goes. Sign into Azure. I can do that. I have my Azure account right here. Yeah, I don't need to do that. Let's just go to my home Azure here. It says you'll need a sandbox. You don't have any Azure subscriptions, Microsoft Learn Sandbox. Directly click here to switch. I don't know. Can I do this? This is a sandbox. Well, let's see if I can do this in the sandbox. I don't know if it'll let me, but we'll try. I feel like it's not going to let me. Create a Linux virtual machine in Azure portal. All right, let's see if this does anything. So here we are. Oops. Here we are. How many hours into doing this? I'm finally actually going to attempt to do this. But keep in mind, the examples it gave me. See, I don't know if I can. I may not be able to do this. Because see, it's not actually showing me the menu. If I go to resource groups, well, we'll see. I don't know. What's it going to do? All right. Sign into Azure, create a virtual machine. Enter virtual machines in the search. There's virtual machines right there. Yeah, see, I need to somehow get to a sandbox, a Microsoft Learn sandbox. See, that's the problem. This doesn't work. Open link a new window. This does not. Is there like an option on here that says create, build and run web application with mean stack? All right, let's. All right, let's go here. Complete the module. Yeah. Provision the virtual machine in Azure. Next module in this learning path is this. Provision. Alright, will they start? Will this actually let me do it? Terraform, bicep, what we'll be doing, what is the main goal? Deploy a Linux. To access your Azure subscription by using Azure portal, you must first sign in. If the functionality you're looking for isn't present on the home page, you can locate it by using either the portal menu. Alright, well, I can use my subscription. I don't want to. I'd rather use a sandbox because then I know it gets deleted. But it looks like I'm going to have to do this. This has got a lot of stuff, but this one doesn't let you do it through a sandbox. I mean, they're both going to do it, it looks like, but there's no sandbox. After you page in the functionality you're looking for, the portal menu simplifies accessing commonly. The global search identifies because the global search to navigate global search blah 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 for more information almost portal. All right, well, I guess I'm going to do this with my. Let's do this with mine, and then I just got to delete it. First things first. Let's get this going. It's weird. I can't. I guess I have to go back here. Go to switch directory. Go to my. I'll switch to this one. Okay, enter virtual machines. We will enter virtual machines. Yeah, there's none to display, I get it. Under services, select virtual machines. Select create. And then virtual machine. The create a virtual machine page opens. More VMs and related solutions. Okay. Make sure the correct subscription is selected and then choose create new. No, I'm just going to use my resource group. Same resource group. I don't want to keep creating more resource groups. I'll just delete it from my resource group. In the Basics tab under Project Details, make sure the correct subscription is selected and then choose to create new. All right, let's do new. Just because it's easier, if I could just delete the resource group. My resource group. My resource group. Okay, kind of lame, but whatever. Under the instance details, enter my VM. So apparently, that doesn't have to be all that unique. And choose Ubuntu Server 2022, whatever. Ubuntu 22.04 LTS. For your image, okay. Ubuntu standard. This is supposed to be standard. And no infrastructure. WASJS. Okay. That's not what that shows though. That's That's funny. This thing says 1804, but it says choose Ubuntu Server 22.04. Okay. Going back to that. And then under administrative account, select SSH public key. Got it. And then in username, enter Azure user. It's already there. For SSH public key source, leave the default and generate new key pair. Got it. So we got public key, Azure, generate new key pair, my key, my VM key. Yeah, close enough. Under inbound port rules, public inbound ports, choose allow selected ports. And HTTP 20 from the drop down. HTTP, why did I say 20? That was 80. Then select, oh, and SSH22 and, oh, okay, never mind. All right. Leave the remaining defaults, review and create. On the Create a Virtual Machine page, you can see the details about the VM you're about to create. When you are ready, select Create. Well, let's finish the validation. Gonna go all the way down here. Pricing for other VM sizes. Look at that, I'm gonna be paying 12 cents an hour, man. I'm gonna have to delete this puppy before 12 cents is up. So I got less than an hour because I gotta kill the 12 cents. Here's about the VM you're about to create. Select create. When the generate new key pair window is open, select download private key pair. Doink. And off we go. When the deployment is finished, select go to resource. On the page for your new VM, select public IP address and copy it to your clipboard. Wait till we get there. I did something on my finger. It's like I don't know if I got bit or what the heck. Don't see a bite, but it hurts like a son of a gun. I was digging in and trying to pull up weeds, but I was wearing gloves. So, I mean, thick leather gloves. So, there's no obvious thing here. Whoa, deployment in progress. A lot of stuff going on. Let's see what else we got going on here. After we connect to the VM, connect to virtual machine, your deployment is complete. Go to resource. And then we have this guy, and it says go to public IP address, right under size, and copy it. So we'll copy it. Copy. And I will just put it in my temporary notes because it's going to be meaningless afterwards. I'll just blop it in here just because I don't want to lose it. And I don't care where it came from. And we'll move this out of the way because I don't need it at the moment. All right, create a SSH connection with VM. If you are on a Mac or Linux machine, which I am not, open a bash prompt. Set read-only permissions on the .pym file using blah, blah, blah. If you are a Windows machine, open a PowerShell prompt. Let's go to PowerShell. I'm gonna run as admin because I don't take any chances. I always want to have control, you know. I don't need any nonsense. All right, so if you are a Windows machine, open PowerShell prompt. At your prompt, open SSH connection to your machine. Replace the IP address with the one from the VM and replace the path to the PIM with the path to where the key. So we're gonna copy this. Oh, okay. So let's paste this here. And then we're going to put this IP address that I have in there as well. I know you're watching. You're watching, you could probably do this too. But only if you're watching it at this very moment, because it's going to be gone pretty soon. And it's, oh, I guess it wouldn't work for someone else, because you'd have to actually have this file on your system. In your downloads folder, like I do. Okay, it's my VM underscore key. .pym. My VM underscore key. Alright, so we're going to copy that. I'm going to go over here. Wait, what? A new PowerShell stable release is available. Or not. How come I won't copy it? Copy. Paste. Oh, there it goes. The host blah 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 can't be established. Key finger blah blah blah. The key is not known by any other names. Are you sure you want to continue connecting? Yes. The SSH key created next time you create a VM Azure select key. Of course, next time you create VM, you already have the private key on your computer, so you don't need to download anything. Warning, permanently added. Okay. Not enabled. Enable the MSM. The list of available updates is more than a week old. To run command administrator, use root, use okay. View the web server in action. Do I need to do this? To see your VM in action, install the Ngix web server from your SSH session. Update your package resources and then install the latest Ngix package. Ubuntu / Red Hat Bash. When done, type exit to leave the SSH session. Am I in an SSH session? What is an SSH session? At, at your prompt, open a virtual machine. Replace the IP address with the one from your VM and replace the path to the .pem with the path to where the key file was downloaded. Oh, maybe that's what this is. Azure something my VM. Interesting. Okay, so if I say copy, oh, it's doing stuff. Whoa, that is doing a lot of stuff. Multiverse. Okay, done. When done, type exit, leave the SSH. Okay, exit. And then use the web browser of your choice to view the default Engage welcome page. Type the public IP address of the VM as the web address. The public IP address can be found on the VM overview page as part of the SSH connection string you used earlier. Okay, that didn't go anywhere. I mean, that didn't do anything. Use a web browser. Type the public IP address of the VM as the web address. The public IP address can be found on the VM overview page as part of the SSH connection string you used earlier. Or as part of, yeah, I know, but it didn't work. So whatever it thinks it did not do. I mean, this is where it takes me. I click the IP and this is where I'm at, right? This is not where I expected to be, but this is where it takes me. I don't know what to say, man. Obviously something didn't happen right. Did I not do this correctly? At your prompt. Replace the IP address. If you're on a Windows machine, open a PowerShell prompt. I would have thought it would have done this thing, but it didn't. Azure user at my VM. I mean, it worked. I mean, it kind of did what it said, and then I ran this. So this will reconnect me. Oh, well, no, it won't, because that's not the right command. Yeah. Oh, that's not right either. Dang gummit. Taking too many shortcuts. Oh, okay, no, that's all right. So that did open it up. And then I got to go back here, try this again. Copy. It's doing... It did something, but did less of it. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but it did less of whatever it did. So this link is not going where I think it's going. this is this is where it's supposed to be going. But as you can see, it doesn't actually open, doesn't actually work. HTTP colon. If I do that, it still doesn't work. I don't know. Refuse to connect. So whatever this is doing, I mean, I did all of the stuff, and what can I say, you know? I mean, I don't know. Created a VM, just select the use key. You already have the private key on your computer, so you won't need to download anything. Tip, the SSH key you created can be used the next time you create a VM. Install web server, which I kind of thought I did, and then I tried this, and that didn't work. Use a web browser of your choice to default. The public IP address can be found in the VM overview page. Or, yeah, it's just that's not working. Things don't work as expected all the time, troops. In fact, with Azure, get used to it. With Azure, things rarely work as expected the first time in. It's just the way of Azure. I'm coming to realize that the world of Azure is not straightforward, and they can give you step-by-steps like this, and you will still find yourself in not functioning as you'd hope. Such is the way. Yeah. It did it. It installed it. It ran everything. It said it was running it. It connected me. It was all happy camper. And then nothing. But hey, I can't keep this. So I did what it said. I went through the steps. Everything kind of sort of did what it was supposed to. It says this will allow IP addresses to access your virtual machine. This is only recommended for testing. See, I did this though. In fact, it probably even says it down here somewhere in the configuration. What was the setting? The setting was inbound ports. Oh, inbound ports. Networking. Connect. Settings. I'm just trying to see where something like ports. Can I just type ports here? Network settings. Okay, let's go look at network settings. Yeah, there it is, HTTP 80. And this. Why has that got an exclamation point on it? Expose the internet. This is only recommended for testing for production environments. We recommend using a VPN or private connection. Okay. So it's just a warning. It says allow. So we're good there. So that should have worked. They're both allowing it. So leave the remaining default, review, create. Download the key. So everything appeared to work when I went through all the steps. I went through all the steps, but we got there, everything ran. Even this install web server thing ran, And then I hit exit, and then I tried to browse the IP address. It did not work. So, yeah. I'm going to call it done. I did what I was supposed to do. Yeah. Clean up resources. When no longer needed, you can delete the resource group, virtual machine, and all related resources. Your page will open warning about deleting resources. The VM is still needed, if it's still needed, which it's not. I'm going to go ahead and go home. I'm going to go to my resource group here. And then I'm just going to go up here to the top where it says delete resource group. And I am going to let this all go because I do not want it. But I did the process, it all installed. You kind of saw how it went. Unfortunately, I can't say the website they gave me works. But I went through the whole thing and everything appeared to run happy camper. But apparently you can't browse it by IP like you think you can. I don't know how to fix it, and I don't want to have this sitting on my account. So, thus, I am killing it. What is the resource group's name here? My resource group. And it's not spelled with an I, because that'd be resource group. Bam. Bam. Okay, so there you go. That's how you do. That's how you do a Linux thing. I'm going to mark it as complete. Hopefully, there's not another exercise that says, "Hey, use this Linux thing," because then I'll have to go back through it later and do it again. Start assignment, which is just, did you do it? Yes, I did it. But did I do it correctly? Yes, I did it correctly. Did it work? No, it didn't work. But that's not my fault, because I did exactly what I was told to do.
A Linux VM in Azure. The next thing you'll do is configure it for the tasks we want to move to Azure. Unless you've set up a site-to-site VPN to Azure, your Azure VMs won't be accessible from your local network. If you're just getting started with Azure, it's unlikely that you have a working site-to-site VPN. So how can you connect to the virtual machine? As we saw a moment ago, Azure VMs communicate on a virtual network. They can also have an optional public IP address assigned.
So to hear her talk, I was supposed to need that still. I probably shouldn't have deleted it yet. Maybe they were going to help me set it up for something. You know.
That connects our on-premises network to Azure, letting us securely connect to the VM without exposing a public IP. This approach,
I mean, it wasn't that hard to create. I could recreate it, but
documented if you're interested in exploring that option. Public IP addresses in Azure are dynamically allocated by default. That means the IP address.
now the thing is, are they going to give me a way to do this? Because if they're sending me to Microsoft Learn, how much you want to bet that link doesn't work?
You can pay more to assign static addresses if you want to connect directly to an IP address and need to ensure that the IP address will not change. Acknowledging these restrictions and the alternatives previously described, we will use the public IP address of the VM in this module.
You can communicate with your Linux Azure VMs with a public IP address or with a VPN if you need to communicate. True.
To connect to the VM via SSH, you need the following items. Public IP address of the VM,
Yep.
username of the local account on the VM, public key configured in that account, access to the corresponding private key, and port 22 open on the VM. Previously, you generated an SSH key pair and added the public key to the VM configuration and ensured that port 22 is open. Next, you'll use this information to open a secure terminal on the VM using SSH. After the terminal is open, you have access to all of the standard Linux command line tools. Now, let's connect to the VM using SSH.
See, how much you want to bet this doesn't go where they think it's going to take me? Watch this. Let's see where it goes. Right back to that thing that's like a do all these things. See? Doesn't work. This is the exact same thing I have already done. I went through all these little steps. Yeah, so yeah. I don't know. I'm just kind of walking through all this stuff. deploy a Linux virtual machine, identify a suitable VM image. Before you start your provisioning process, first you need to determine the VM image that you want to use. You must also verify the images to list the Azure regions. So they're doing some other bits. Identify the suitable VM size, create a resource group, create Azure VM. They're doing a lot of things, not using Azure Portal, which is not what I'm theoretically supposed to be doing. Hey, thanks for the follow, man. Appreciate it. Can always like an occasional follow here. Anyway. Hey, Fad Al-Mukrish. Well, forgive me if I butchered your name, but hello. How are you doing? Fahad Al-Mukrish. Anyway, so yeah, I'm kind of finding out that this Coursera course, the links usually bring you back to Microsoft Learn pages to do the actual exercises. This is the first time all the exercise links don't go to the thing you're supposed to be doing. It's like the links have changed. And this is a, good to hear it, man. The links have changed. And this is when you have like resources and you link to other people's stuff, if they decide to change it. Now, I don't even know if this is other people's stuff. For all I know, this Coursera course was created by Microsoft. They just never updated the Coursera course. I don't know. But either way, the Coursera course has these links that go to the Microsoft Learn pages for the exercises, and voila, they're not actually going there today. So, like I said, I've run into, ever since I started this course, I'm on course 4 now, I have run into many issues because it's like, I want to say it's 5 years old. I think this Coursera course is 2019, and what are we, 2024 now? So there's a state of change that has happened over the last few years that every now and then I run into things that just don't function as you'd expect. So I just created a Linux account, which didn't work. I just did all this other things. I mean, I went through all these steps. Everything worked all the way up to view your service. It didn't work. So I said, well, you know, I did everything I was supposed to. Everything worked up to that point. Everything looked good. I went to SSH, ran it. It didn't load, but I think that has something to do with this website, which is probably old as well. I don't know. But I deleted it too quickly because then they had this other exercise. So it only took a few minutes. I could probably recreate it. But then this exercise doesn't go to an actual link either. When you open this, it takes you also to that same starting page because it doesn't have a home. So when I go here, I just get back to this, which I've been kind of slowly going through all of these simply because I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing here. But this is using Bicep. They're giving you lots of ways to provision a Linux resource using all these items. But ideally, I just want to do it via the portal because that's what the exercise is. And yeah, I could do this and create one, and it's actually probably a pretty good exercise to do. But that's not part of this class I'm trying to finish. And they may have me doing that very same stuff at a later point. So which deployment tool should you use for multiple cloud deployments that include Azure and Amazon Web Services? Probably Bicep, because I still don't know what Terraform is. A lot of these say Terraform, so Terraform must be a thing that we haven't actually spoken about. Which deployment tool should you choose for declarative deployments to Azure if you want to maximize the platform integration capabilities? Which deployment tool should you use for declarative deployments? I didn't really read these. Core Bicep template resource, which designates at work, my previous job, we had a very brief class on Bicep. I had never used Bicep before. This is the first time I've actually seen it used anywhere. Each resource contains a set of generic resources. In addition to the resource elements, the following sample templates. Working with Bicep involves authoring and deploying templates to simplify and enhance the authoring experience. Use Visual Studio Code with Bicep extension. The same extension also supports bicep-based deployments if you prefer to trigger deployment for command line. Effectively, the process of provisioning an Azure VM running Linux by using bicep typically involves the following sequence of high-level steps. An image, a size, author of bicep template, initiate the deployment of the bicep template. This does not say why you would use bicep. I mean, I don't think. Character, purpose, describe role and its purpose. Use the following code example to provision a Linux VM by using bicep. So you can provision with a Linux VM. Let's go back, see what this other one was. Because I was looking at the knowledge tech. Oh, there's Terraform. Terraform implements and controls a target infrastructure by using configuration files that describe the desired state of its components, the basic format of files and their generative syntax. Although there are several Terraform providers that support Azure, Azure RM is of a particular relevance. There are also additional non-cloud specific providers that you might want to use. Terraform is available as a single binary you can download from HashiCorp website. When using Azure Cloud Shell, make sure you run the current version of Terraform by following the instructions. You know what? Let's go back one more notch. I wonder if... See, this has Azure Portal. Azure Virtual Machine, Azure Resource Specific Settings, Basics. Create a virtual. Okay, so I can go through this process using the Azure portal, try it again, which is similar. This is probably where they wanted to take me, to be honest, where they wanted that link to go. It did not go here, but it should have gone here. But then the next step is the thing I'm supposed to be doing. So let's just say I'm going to go through that again here. And then I'm supposed to be going to something that says connect to a Linux virtual machine with SSH, which I did at the bottom. But then this shows you how to do it with a bunch of different objects, which the other one actually got me to SSH. What is next? Practice quiz, network and the security settings, exercise configure network settings. What is this going to take me? Going to take me to another thing that doesn't actually work. Open link in new window. See? Doesn't take me anywhere. Just takes me to this. It's like, this does not talk about anything about network. Look, it doesn't even mention network. If I did this, the only thing would be build and run a web application. Maybe this thing will go through it. Let's see. Decide if mean is right for you. Exercise create a VM to host your web application. Install Mongo. Install Node.js. Create a basic web application. Oh, okay. So this little link here must be the one they're trying to get me to. But overall, you kind of have to go through at least this step. And then you have to skip down here and go through what probably is this step. Or maybe even all of these 3 steps. Because they're doing these different things. They're all connected. But Coursera, outdated, did not have this information. So I'm probably not going to do all of these. I'll do the portal one. Let's see if this talks about the differences between these guys. You know what? I'm gonna copy this. You know, actually, I'm gonna escape. I'm gonna do this kind of copy. And then I'm going to put that in my notes because, you know, it looks like good information, but also knowing the difference between all of these tools could be handy in my studying for the AZ-204. I use OneNote for my notes, by the way, if anybody's curious. Here's my OneNote notes. I have my Azure training. And I already got the Azure Fundamental certification. That's back when I did this when I was working at my last job. And then now that I'm unemployed, I've decided I'm going to try to up that a notch, take it to the AZ-204 developing for Azure. And then this is that class. This is all the stuff I've been getting from the first 4 courses of this. And now I'm halfway through the second course, or the 4th course. And there's 7, I want to say 7 courses. There's either 7 or 8. But that's where I'm at right now. So hopefully I'll be able to get through this one fairly quick. Let's go ahead. What time is it? 8:20. Okay. So let's go ahead and try and create another virtual machine here. We're going to do the other option, which is this one. This is a different page than the one I followed before. But I'm going to be using, see, this doesn't have a sandbox option. To access by using convenient entry point. Functionality you look for isn't right there. Portal menu. The portal menu supplies. Because the global search box offers comprehensive. To navigate to the page, yeah, this the process of level steps. Virtual machine, yeah. Yeah, they don't have a sandbox version of creating this, which is kind of sad because they had one for the Windows. That's the one I did yesterday. Terraform is an open source multi-platform infrastructure code tool that's used to provision and configure a wide range of environments, including multi-vendor public and private cloud. Unlike Azure CLI, which provides an imperative approach to resource management, Terraform follows a declarative approach. Aha! Keyword, declarative. That was one of the questions. What if you want to use a declarative approach? An imperative approach involves writing scripts or running a sequence of commands. You explicitly provide the steps to run to produce a desired outcome. When you use an imperative deployment, it's your responsibility to manage dependencies or handling. A declarative approach involves writing a definition that describes the desired outcome rather than the steps to implement it. The tooling determines the optimal method to deliver that outcome for you. It does this by inspecting the current state of your environment, comparing it to your target state, and then implementing the changes. You know what? I'm going to keep that too, because I'd like to know what they mean by declarative and imperative. Seems like a good piece of information. Bicep offers an alternative declarative provisioning method to Terraform, although it exclusively targets Azure resources. You can benefit from several integrations and usability features common across platforms. Resource Manager template, Bicep template. Oh, okay. What are we doing? This thing. All right, let's see if I can get any further with my. I'm gonna go do the knowledge check thing here first. Which deployment should you use for multiple cloud deployments, including Azure and Amazon Web Services? Which deployment tools should you choose for multiple cloud deployments? Multiple cloud deployments. That include Azure and Amazon Web. Amazon Web Services? Really? Well, you can't use Azure CLI. That's not going to work, right? I mean, I would think Bicep. Bicep is probably traditionally cross-platform, cross-web service. I don't know. Which deployment tool should you choose for declarative deployment? So that's, well, if you want to maximize the platform integration capabilities. Terraform. Which tool can you use to run Azure CLI commands without having to add or install any software on your computer? Cloud Shell. Which parameter of the Azure CLI or AZVM image command should you use to list all images from the same vendor? Publisher. Which Azure resources is prerequisite when deploying an Azure virtual machine, regardless of the provisioning method? Virtual network. What is the benefit of using Bicep templates over the Azure Resource Manager templates? Declarative? Provisioning. Let's try that. Review my answers. How'd I do? Oops. Ah, I got these backwards. Okay, so Bicep is better for maximizing the platform integration capabilities. Oh, Bicep is Azure native. Oh, that means I'm going to be wrong with the Amazon Web Services one too. Yeah, that's right. Because if this is Azure, it's Bicep. Terraform is the one that can do multiple cloud environments. Oh, okay. So that's why they're backwards. Whoops. All right. Well, I got number 3 right, and I got number 4 right, and I got number 5 right. Uh, Not so good on number 6. Bicep offers simplified, more compact syntax. Okay. Well, I'm going to keep that information. It's good to have. I'm going to store it all. It shows me the correct answer. It's funny I'm going to be recording these, though, with the wrong answers. I mean, you know, I like to copy them when I have the right answers, but this one doesn't let you change. But, oh well, you know, put these in my list of things to study. Because obviously I didn't know the answer at that moment. I know the answer now. Woohoo, if I took the test again. But I didn't. I'm not. So knowledge checking is proving that my knowledge needs some checking. Reviewing. That's what you take them for, right? That's why you do the knowledge checks. You go, okay, well, yeah, Ken, you need some work. Some of them I got right. I mean, I was, what, 60%? But 60% is a failure, so that's not good. But hey, when it comes time to take the test, well, I will have taken so many practice tests. I will have memorized everything. And my brain will be overflowing with Azure data. I hope. I hope. I hope. All right, so I'm going to complete this module. But let's go back to this. And we're going to go do my... let's go do this again. Off we go. All right, so that doesn't exist anymore, I'm pretty sure. So my VM virtual machine. Wait, that shouldn't exist. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so it's all gone. Right, so we'll go to virtual machines. We have none. We'll hit create. And then we're going to follow the rules. My Azure virtual machine. Take me here. We got blah 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 blah. Okay, so we're gonna go Azure subscription, Azure Pass sponsorship. Don't know what that is, but we're just gonna use mine. New. Let's call it the same thing I did before. If it's still here. Nope, it is not. We'll call it sample dash deployment dash, I don't know what RG is, but okay. We're gonna go. Boy, this one has much more complicated names. Sample dash VM 0. We're gonna stick with West US because that's where my resource group is. Oh no, I'm using that one. I guess it doesn't matter which one I use. But we'll do West US if it'll let me. Okay, so no infrastructure. Standard. It's got to be standard. And this is going to be... Does this one change itself to the other one? Nope. We'll just do the 20.04, 64 Gen 2, 64. And we're going to continue on. Interestingly enough, this one doesn't go into the stuff down here because it just went into VM architecture, which is just this top stuff. And then it goes create virtual machine. If you deploy Azure virtual machine disks, is disks on here? You can use a disk tab to specify networking. Create a virtual network. Oh, so this one actually has networking as a separate thing. So sample VMnet. And then we're going to say new default, sample VM 0, basic, allow selected ports, SSH22, got it, done. And then they have this, which is disks. Let's go see what disks is. OS disks. Okay, so this one says you can also attach one or more data disks. Although this option is available at any point following the deployment, the maximum number of data disks that an Azure supports depending on its size. So this has all kinds of things. OS disk size. You can premium SSD locally redundant storage. Can you make it smaller? No, I didn't think so. I'm not going to make it bigger. Just minimize my costs, man, because I am not using as much as possible. I don't want to have any cost, because we're going to have tiny little costs, a few cents here and there. Create a virtual machine. We're on to management. This one does a lot more of the steps. Defender for cloud. Check. Auto shutdown. I turned on auto shutdown last time because I didn't even want it running at all, but I'm not going to do that right now. And then auto shutdown, and then monitoring. They're actually walking you through a little bit more of the stuff. Enable, blah blah. This has more options. You can see, like, this one has a health button. Enable application health monitoring. That's not even a thing on here. Advanced. Let's go to advanced. Ooh, lots of stuff on here. Select extension with a box. Look at, see, this one stops at custom data. And then, but the actual thing goes on and on. User data, host, capacity reservations, all kinds of other stuff. Then they got tags. I don't think they're going to do any tags. No, they can do tags. See, and it says you have 13 selected. Here there's 14. Validate the assigned settings. So now it's going to go through and validate it. It's going to go and decide if I'm going to pass. Look, when this was done, this number comes out to 0.0960 US dollar. Did I actually, I'm curious, did I go up here? I don't remember if I, where did it actually put in Linux? Oh, is that the Ubuntu server? I mean, how do I know that this is a Linux? Must be the Ubuntu, huh? Because there's nothing here that actually says Linux. But Ubuntu is what, the creator, something like that? I don't know. Anyway, so what's it say? See, it used to be less than, well, just barely 10 cents, almost 10 cents, right? 9.6 cents. Now it's 11 cents. It's gone up 2 cents an hour. Oh my gosh. 2 cents an hour. Doesn't seem like much, but an hour, you know, what is there? 2,080 hours of work hours in a year. That's not even counting the fact that that's just work hours. That's, you know, that's the time that you're up. So if you close it down during your work day and you only did it on standard work days, there's 2,080 of work hours in a year. That's why it's really easy to figure out how much money you make in a salary each year, because you just multiply it by 2,000, right? So if they say you're making $20 an hour, that's about $20,000 a year. It's, you know, it's 2,080, so it's a little bit more. But roughly, if you worked the full 2,080 hours in a year, you're going to make roughly $20,000 at $20 an hour. You know, you're making $65 an hour, you're making $130,000 a year. That's the hourly conversion to what you're making each year. But it's also not, you know, it's going to be a little off, but then you got to consider all the other stuff, like got to pay taxes and all that crap, but whatever. That's it. Now we're just going to continue. So that's it. This is just, it didn't even tell me to hit the button. It just said, if validation successful, click create. Oh, okay, it does. Never mind. Now we got to download the private key thing, because I know that's important. So it's going to go through and run this. And then we go through the next step, which, like I said, is not where you think it is. So this one will let you provision. This one shows you examples, or the Microsoft Learn will show you examples how to do it with the CLI, how to do it with Bicep, how to do it with all these other tools, which is cool. It's not part of the course. So if I go here, go to my resource, and then I go here, and then we're back to the exercises. This is the connect to it via SSH, which I'm not sure where this is supposed to appear. Like I said, these don't actually show up where you think they're going to show up. So like if I open this in a new window, I can get rid of this one. As you can see, it's just taking me back here. So, and I already went through all of these items. Now I'm on to this. Create a VM for host your application. So am I supposed to install Mongo, Node, all these things, or do I just go ahead and create a basic web application? If I go here, I don't even know what mean is. What the heck? You're a software developer. Start to have experience with JavaScript. You heard about the mean stack: Mongo, Express, Angular, and Node.js. I've never heard of that before. It says, you're a software developer at an online retail store that specializes in children's books. You're building a new book from start to finish. You have lots of experience in JavaScript, so you want to find a solution that plays well to your strengths. You've heard about the mean stack: MongoDB, Express.js, AngularJS, and Node.js. So I am training myself, working on not that. I'm working on Node.js. I'm using Next.js, which is kind of a layer on top of Node.js. I'm doing React, working on learning React, which is kind of like Angular's opposite, right? It's Facebook's version. Yeah, React is Facebook's and Angular is Google, or is it the other way around? I don't know. One of them is, no, I think Angular is Google and Facebook is React. But either way, Angular is a TypeScript, right? So it's going to be type driven. And I don't even know what Express.js is. MongoDB, Cosmos DB, whatever. I guess that's just a, what do you call it? A NoSQL solution database. I didn't know that M was a thing. So the closest thing I've done databases wise, as far as this new paradigm I'm studying to try to get more front end logic. I say I'm a SQL Server developer, a C# developer, and but I do a lot of I've done full stack, but I use just ASP.NET, using .NET Framework 4.5 was about as high as I ever went, which is about where it stopped because they switched over to Core, which is about 5, 6, and 7, and or something like that. And now we're on to 8, which is actually both of them. 7 might be both of them too. They kind of like merged them. But I don't know what merged means. Does that mean my framework knowledge now works again? I don't think so. I think I don't know how that applies. I think Core is now just capable of doing everything that framework did. I think that's what they mean. I don't know. What do they mean by merged? So, I mean, like I said. Anyway, that said, I'm trying to get myself more modern tech. That's what I'm learning here. That's why I'm doing the Azure stuff. That's why I'm doing React and Blazor, which is the other thing I'm working on my stream here. Is I'm doing a React and a Blazor app side by side. I have an app, a website app that I'm developing. That I'm doing them both. I'm basically generating 2 distinct applications, one using React and Next.js, and one using Blazor. And then I'm doing the database on the back end. I'm hoping to use the same database. I'm going to use SQL Server, I'm hoping. I have a SQL Server database I want to use, but I don't know if I can do it the way I want to do it. I'm not sure what I can do there. So the database part, I'm getting there. I'm just setting up the basic website. I'm way at the beginning of all this. I know even less about Blazor than I know about React, and I don't know a lot of React, but I'm learning it because I've taken online course, complete an online course for React and Next.js and GraphQL and Supabase, which is a Postgres database. Also, I know C Sharp, but that's not Blazor, which is closer to MVC, right? And which is .NET Core, and I don't know .NET Core very well. So a lot of stuff going on. So I want to do some web APIs in there. I'm actually thinking I might develop an API that both my React, like I was thinking maybe create my database API that uses just one database, one API that uses my one database, and then have both my Blazor app and my React app call that API to get database stuff. So they can feed off of it just using, pulling what they need to do the same thing. That's my goal. So I'll have my API and I'll have my two front-end tools or front-end/back-end tools. We'll see. Woohoo! It's going to take some time. Anyway, again, that's what mean. I digress because we got to the mean. Why pick mean? I don't know. Because JavaScript isn't your strongest skill. Why might mean not be right for you? Your data is highly structured. Microsoft SQL. JavaScript isn't your strongest skill. I wouldn't mind doing a MongoDB/Cosmos DB solution. I just don't know where I can get one for free. So that's the thing. I don't want to be paying for all this stuff. Is there a way to set up a Cosmos database locally and create all this stuff locally? I don't know. And there probably is. So connect to a Linux virtual machine with SSH, which I kind of did earlier. That's what this was. In fact, I can go to my thing and probably connect it already, which if that's all it is, I should be fine because I can take this little tidbit. I got to build this little path out. I need my copy this, put this over here. And then what was the name of my key though? Oh, I think it's on my thing here. So we go here and we'll go sort, demodified, reverse. Here it is. Sample dash VM0 underscore key. And then I should be able to do this. Copy, click. Come on. Yes, yes. Security maintenance for applications not enabled. Zero updates can be applied immediately. Enable ESM apps to receive additional future security updates. The program included with the Ubuntu system are free software. No warranty to the extent permitted by application. To run a command as administrator, use user root. Use sudo command. See man sudo root for details. Okay, so I am connected to my, I think. Should be connected to my website now, according to this. So that's actually really all I was supposed to do, I think, in this. But configure network settings. Again, this is challenging because it's having me do stuff with a link. I don't know what I'm supposed to be linking to. So it's like, I think ultimately we're supposed to do this website thing. I think that's the ultimate goal. So you configure network settings, exercise, that's just did you do it? configure network settings. Connect to a Linux virtual machine with SSH. I believe I did that. In the exercise, you'll connect to your Linux VM with SSH and configure Apache so you have a running web server. No, I will not, because Apache is not on here. None of these do Apache. And then this one will install MongoDB. So this proving to be a really difficult course to take, because none of these links go anywhere, and they send me off to go do it. Go do this, and then you go there, and it's like, I don't know how it says. You will connect your Linux virtual machine and configure Apache. Well, configure Apache on Linux VM. It has to be something that takes me to Microsoft Learn, because that's the only one. But Microsoft Learn got rid of that, right? Because that's why these don't exist anymore. It's not part of the mean stack. They're like, oh, all right, well, see, this is 2020, 2019. So all of these examples of configuring things, oh, that one's 2023, install and configure Apache on Ubuntu server. But Azure Virtual Machine, launch Ubuntu Linux, install Apache. That's 2021. So a lot of these are pretty old, and finding an example that does what they want you to do. Now, I could go find a tool or find a sample that's going to take me there to go do it. But it is not this link, and what can I do, man? I'll do it offline. I'm going to do that separate. I'm going to have to stop here, because this going around guessing which item I'm supposed to use at any given moment is driving me bonkers. It's like, ugh. I could just go watch a YouTube video if my links on my class thing aren't actually going to work. So I'm going to watch these videos is what I'm going to do, because that's the key thing. You're watching the videos, you're doing the learning, you're taking notes, getting ready for the test, and these practical exercises are supposed to give you a feel for how it works. Those are not the item that you're really training for. You're trying to train for what information you need to do these things. You're probably not going to remember how to do each thing that I'm doing here. I'm not going to remember them all, because I'm going to go through step by step, going to go through it. And when it comes down to somebody say, go install it, well, I might know where to go and have an idea what to install by memory, but I'm still going to have to reference and look up stuff just to be sure I'm not missing something or got it wrong, you know, because until you've done it a dozen times, the odds of knowing every little thing you're supposed to put in there, probably not very good. So I'm ready to stop. It's 5 o'clock my time, and been out for a few hours. What time is it here? A little over 2 hours for this action. I was doing my videos and everything this morning. I did all those separately, and finished off my previous module and did the test prep for that. I'm going to go through the videos on this one. I'm not sure what I'm going to do as far as that goes, as far as continuation goes, but you can see that it's not going to be very easy if you're doing the Coursera class, especially since they don't make their own exercises. They send you off to go do a link somewhere, and they do that for all of this course. All of them send you to Microsoft Learn for their course or their exercises, and many of those exercises either don't exist, or if you're doing the first course, they don't work exactly as shown without using Sandbox. You have to use Sandbox because the current version of Azure, which some years later now has been updated, changed, and reconfigured, and things are different. You can figure it out. It is possible. I did it because I couldn't get the Sandbox to work, but it's a pain in the backside, and it takes a lot longer to get things functioning. So that's all I'm saying, man. Keep an eye out for the pains that you're going to be dealing with if you're taking these classes, because they don't use their own exercises, which is definitely a complaint of mine. They need to put their own exercises in the course so that if you're taking a course that's a few years old, they can get you through it and even update it so that it's functional in the current version of things. That would be awesome. But what can you do? Till next time, take it easy.